Hi, welcome back to Sarah's Country Cottage. I'm starting today in our hallway, but only just really to lead you through to the tiniest room in our cottage. So here we go. Love our hallway. I decorated it last year in this lovely wallpaper by Colfax and Fowler called Bowood. I even decorated this door. I'd like to change the handles, but we haven't got round to that. I'm not sure how you would do it. So, without further ado, let me take you to our small little cloakroom. Well, let's say I don't like the utilities in our cottage. It's what we inherited when we bought the cottage. And grey is not really my favourite colour of loo, toilet, or the sink. But we are on a budget, and most of our budget went on repointing the cottage in lime mortar and then replacing the windows with wood windows, which wooden windows are so much more expensive than PVC and composite. I think they're like at least twice as much. So that means the rest of the things that we'd like to do will have to wait, and until then, it's how I can disguise them. So when it came to this little room, let me move in. I hope it doesn't get too dark. Let's see if it will adjust. I loved this wallpaper. Can you make it out? I stand out of the shadow of the light that's just coming through the window in the hallway. You can see it's a lovely sagey green wallpaper. It's a vintage wallpaper by Sanderson. I don't know the name because I bought it from a little antique centre, and I just had 2 rolls. On one roll I used on the landing upstairs, and the second just one. In fact, it's even under a roll because I needed a length for the landing from it. So the rest of it I used for here. So again, like I've used in other rooms, I've had to section it off. Let me stand back. There we go. So you can see there, I've had to section it off with different beading so that it would make what I had go a little bit further. So I was actually able to do, in the end, this section here, around here by the sink, and this wall here. Again, it's the old switches from the 80s that I don't like, but again, until we can afford to do that, we'll have to put up with them. But for now, it's made what was a very cold grey downstairs cloakroom a lot warmer and somewhere nice to actually use. And so the first thing we did in this room, and that was to try and disguise this awful sink. It is just a pedestal sink, and I'd love to replace the taps, but again, they will have to do for now. But what has helped is the fact that my beloved father is so wonderful. He was able to cut out a template of wood to fit around the sink, and then therefore from that I could create a little curtain to hide underneath. It is boxed in, some pipe works, so it doesn't hang totally straight, but I do think it's an improvement. And it also gives a little shelf to put on things like soaps. I love this little soap dish. Oh no, come on camera. There we go. It's a lovely pale pink with a little chick on it. Now will it catch it? That's by Hogben Pottery. And I love these tiles, which are by Susie Watson. So then as I go around, I love pictures. So I like to create a little gallery effect. And I like the bows. So here we can see the pictures on this side of the first wall. And then there's the mirror. There's my arm. And then some more pictures here now. Hopefully it's not too dark. But as you can see, the little postcards that I've framed of Peter Rabbit. Well, not Peter Rabbit, but from the story of Peter Rabbit. There you can see Mr. McGregor has made a scarecrow out of his beloved blue coat that belonged to his father and his shoes. So I did these really cheaply. The Range, which is at a store in the UK, is really great for selling wonderful, affordable frames. And so I was able to do that. And then as we come round, now then, I did actually say today on Instagram, today I'm filming this on Friday. I think it's the 7th of February, I'm a bit lost. And I did say how behind we were with our snowdrops. A lot have been buried by the moles, but I've just been literally outside now and managed to get 3. And a little couple of sprigs of ivy. And underneath there's a little tiny nest that I've needle felted with wool. Added a little feather, and the little eggs I moulded from the Fimo clay and painted them. And then we've got a little embroidery of a little duck egg blue. That was by a lovely friend. She's so talented. And then a lovely auricula. So here, now then, do I need to put the light on? Let's put, as we call in the north, the big light on and see if that helps so that you can see this picture here. Now, I don't think that's very clear. Again, it's machine embroidery. I showed you a little box that I had last week of Jeremy Fisher. And this is I think it's the same company that created all these, and they did these pictures for Beatrix Potter, and here's Jemima Puddleduck and Mr. Fox. So as you can see, if I zoom in, it's actually machine embroidered. So these are things that I've collected from charity shops and vintage shops. Oh, and this basket, well, I actually got that on my travels with my mum in New England. And then here we go with another vintage find. Again, I do seem to have a lot of Beatrix Potter paraphernalia all around the cottage. And here's a little scene, and I have some others from the story of Tom Kitten. And there we go, with a little rabbit from Beatrix Potter as well underneath. Now this wreath here I have out all year round because I do like it. But it does lend itself to the upcoming spring season and Easter that will soon be on its way. Now, this section here it's boxed off. It's just, I think it's plywood, if you know what that is. And it was to box off the pipes that are behind it. Now, we didn't do that. But what I did do was, again, I've used beading to section it, all these little strips of beading, in order so that I could just use the last scraps of paper to fill it up. And then here in the window are more scenes. I love using ribbon and bows just to finish things off, and just a little of extra detail. So this is 2 more little pictures. You can't see if this rose, can you? Again, they're from the story of Tom Kitten. And then another series of books that I like is Little Grey Rabbit. And this little cottage is the little cottage and home of Little Grey Rabbit, and she's actually there peeping in the doorway. My mum gave me that a few years ago. I absolutely love it. I do like nests. I'm a big fan of nests. I just like collecting them, making them, adding feathers and quail eggs and bits of ivy. And then here, to trim the top of the window, is like some lace edging. It was actually an old pillowcase. I managed to get a pair of them. So I used one end of the pillowcase to create this, just to give it a little trim in the window. And then the other end I actually used to disguise the awful top of the loo. Then in here you can see some lovely acorns. They stay out all year because I do love acorns. So this is some more hogben pottery with little blue tips on there, filled with some little metal cutouts of flowers. They came from the National Trust. We do love and support the National Trust wherever we can. And then actually, can you see behind here, hanging from the window? Can you make it out? I'm not sure if you can very well, but it's Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, little glass picture. So then as we come round here, and I'll shut this door, that you can see how tiny the room is. So this is a lovely little painting by Sarah Jo. It's a lady I follow on Instagram called Brighton Farm. And I bought this one from her many years ago when she was raising funds to adopt a little girl from India. And since then she's gone on to adopt another little girl, and there's such a wonderful family and a lovely family to follow. And then underneath, now if you did watch last week's video with my cabinet of all things Beatrix Potter, you'll have seen this picture already. But this is a bigger version, and again we got this from the home of Hilltop in Cumbria. So this is the illustration by Claire Fletcher, and you can see it in better detail here. You can see all the little bunnies, and look, a little hedgehog, a mole, squirrels, little mice and birds, all feasting on Beatrix Potter's garden. She's the most adorable illustrator. I love everything that she does. I don't think I've ever seen a bad illustration. Again, Claire Fletcher is on Instagram and you'll be able to see everything that she creates. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm excited to return to Hilltop in the spring when it opens up. The National Trust do tend to close their properties for the winter time. It's a time to let old homes and gardens kind of rest, and a time for them to restore things. And so this will open again in the spring, and I think Claire Fletcher has some new designs that will be for sale there, so I'm very excited about that. So this is where the wallpaper ends, where I completely ran out. So I filled this wall. Let's see if we can stand back and give you a little bit of a look. So this wall's painted the same green as above and below the beading rails. There's our radiator. So here, I'm back against the sink now, so I think this is as far back as I can go, but thankfully you can see it a little bit better with the light. So I love this lovely old cupboard and shelves. It just fills the wall, though it doesn't have the wallpaper. Now we have pipes again going behind this wall. So for these pictures, I use those strips, those sticky strips to hold the pictures on the wall. And so far they've stayed up. So again, these are the cheap frames from the range that I've just filled. I had a tatty old book of Tom Kitten, so I took out the illustrations and framed them. And there he is, little Tom Kitten, with his mum and his sisters. And then there we go again, on this side, where they're getting up to quite a lot of mischief. So here we go, on top of the shelves with some rustic little terrier dog and two little deer, and some lovely old pieces of glass that have been hand painted. And underneath is a collection of shells and a bit more creamware, and more of the baskets that I picked up in New England with my mum. I love this style of basket, it's so beautiful. And again, as you can see, we have another nest and hearts. Who can't resist hearts? And then underneath again, some more hogben pottery, this time with a hare and some dried hydrangeas, more shells, and then hanging underneath a lovely little plate of Beatrix Potter. More baskets. Yes, I do have a lot of baskets. And then 2 beautiful handmade pieces of stitching and embroidery by Susie Hearts. Again, she's on Instagram. So, I hope you liked today's little video of our little cloakroom, the smallest room in the house. So thank you for watching. Please like it and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.